Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the very first time the Chamber has done a live chat program. I'd much rather be with you all at events and programming and doing the networking that we're really used to, but the times we have today make some changes. I do want to thank April Setti and New Jersey Buzz Productions, who's worked with us the last couple of days to make this chat available. We're really bringing you this information because I want the larger business community to address your questions. I want to provide you with updated information, the best that we have, and I want to provide a portal, which our website has become, for information that you can use to learn more and more about what opportunities are available for you to avail this coronavirus that's hurting all of our businesses. But to start with, let me inform you about some of the things that Chamber's done in the last week to highlight and provide that information. First of all, we created a virtual business community Facebook group that allows our members to communicate, share ideas, and work together. There's a couple of hundred people now that are using that, and it's a real great way to sort of network without being in person. We also are partnering with a number of Chamber organizations and our members to help them get the information out through webinars. Two upcoming ones are with Witham and with Fox Rothschild on specific areas that we think are important for you to understand. And you'll see those through our website. We've redesigned our website to focus totally on providing links to local, state, and federal programs designed to provide loans and grants to help our business community get through the next couple of months. We are disseminating information that we receive through our partnerships with the U.S. Chamber, New Jersey State Chamber, New Jersey Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives, NJBIA, and other business organizations. There is a lot of information out there, most of it pretty good, some of it not so good, and we're trying to make sure that the reputable organizations we work with and the information we put on our website is something you need to know. Our website members news section is now promoting individual member opportunities, especially as they pertain to the people less fortunate and those companies that really have a need that maybe some of us don't have immediately. We also have our Chamber ambassadors and membership folks reaching out to the community members and our business members to talk to them, let them know what's going on, and hear back from them so we know what to do. I'm going to sort of split this into two discussions. One is the federal level, which is the CARES Act, and the second is some state and local initiatives that are going on. I don't have teleprompters, so you'll see me reach once in a while for some information to make sure that my numbers are right and what I'm saying is correct. So 2 days ago, the federal government passed the CARES Act, which was a $2 trillion act to support the business and nonprofit communities in our area. And I want to mention nonprofit 501c3s are actively treated equally to business organizations. So a lot of information in that act, but I want to spend the time on one particular focus. That's $350 billion that's been allocated under the Paycheck Protection Act that is earmarking funds to small businesses, non-for-profits, that will hopefully exclude some layoffs and some business closings. The interesting part of this is these funds will be disseminated through the banks. Not that the federal government isn't a little bit slow sometimes, but our banks are getting the information right now, and they'll be the place that you can look to find information and provide these loans. Who will be eligible? And that's an important point. If you are SBA approved today, so if you are able to get an SBA loan, you are automatically eligible for the Paycheck Protection Act. In addition, as I mentioned, 501c3 organizations, nonprofits, veterans organizations, and this is important, sole proprietorships, independent contractors, self-employed individuals all qualify. And what's really unique about this program, having been on a number of discussions, is they've really tried to clear all the upfront paperwork and make it a very easy process. For the loans, some background information. The interest rate for the loans is set by the federal government and is no more than 4%. The size of the loan is determined by your average payroll costs for 2019, including healthcare benefits, paid sick leave, and other ongoing essential expenditures that you make. That number is then 2.5 times what your loan would be. So you can assume if your payroll is $50,000, that would be $150,000, I believe it is, 2.5 times your payroll expense. Again, this is for companies with under 500 employees, not above that. Now, there are things that we can talk about for companies with over 500 employees, and we will get to that a little bit later. To give you some scope, though, of how impactful this is, if you were to take 6 weeks of payroll for all the small businesses across the United States, this loan would cover them. So it clearly is an opportunity to get some information out there. Interesting enough, these loans are all guaranteed by the federal government. What that means is when you go to the bank to acquire your loan, you don't have to put up personal guarantees, and you don't have to put up collateral. They really look for a good faith experience on what you've been doing. They are also expanding the number of lenders that are going to be offering this program. The underwriting standards are very, very low. If you're a company in business effective February 1st, 2020, you are able to go and apply. As an example, if you started a restaurant in November of 2019, you are eligible to apply for these loans. What I would suggest is if you are a company and are interested in looking at these loans, that you start to pull together the numbers of what your average payroll would have been in 2019. And that's the basis you'd use. There's been a lot of discussions about loans and grants. Let me give you a little bit of background on that. They are originally going to be loans. However, after 8 weeks, the loans, as long as you meet the guidelines, will become grants. You can't be granted more than the loan. So if you go for a loan for $200,000, you can't be gifted more than that or given more than that in a grant. But that loan can be offset over time. How you offset that loan is the expenses that you incur, including salaries, utilities, rent, interest on mortgage debt. You get a dollar for dollar reduction in what you owe in the loan. And as I mentioned, the cool part of this is the loans are 100% guaranteed by the federal government. Interesting enough, a little sidelight, food service accommodations, restaurants and hotels have traditionally had to aggregate all their locations to apply for these type of loans. That's not happening under the Paycheck Protection Act. Each premise would stand alone. So if you were a restaurateur with 4 locations, each location would stand alone and be able to be part of the application process. There are also opportunities for businesses to do net operating loss acceleration, so payroll tax increase amounts, and some other deferrals of expenses. The other change that was interesting was if you are a hospitality business and you made improvements in the last year or two, those will now be allowed to be immediately written off against your expenses. As I mentioned, independent contractors are also covered by this. In addition, there's been some work with the expanded unemployment program. And there's some changes there too. So for cash families, if you're a family, aside from the unemployment, if you're a family who makes less than $75,000 a year, you'll be receiving $1,200 per individual, up to a max of $2,400, and $500 will be allocated for dependent children. If you're filing as a family or married filing jointly, the income level is $150,000. If you have an employee who has unfortunately been laid off, the changes to unemployment are that it's been expanded to 4 months. They've also waived the 1-week requirement that states normally have before you can start collecting funds. The federal government is increasing the weekly benefit that normally is provided by the states by $600. That does stop when you return to work. One other informational piece is you have to be in normal times looking for a job. If you're not looking for work, you cannot be paid unemployment insurance. That has been waived because there are very few jobs right now to look for. If the jobs start up again, that will be implemented again. For an employee who you have to lay off, you can maintain their health benefit in many cases. So you'd have to talk to your broker. Be aware, though, if you're a larger company laying off more than 50 individuals, there are federal guidelines under the Warren Act that you have to report that information. The other piece that's sort of interesting is, how do you support our businesses? Because everybody wants to continue to support our local businesses. Some ideas are: buy gift cards. Go online and buy a gift card. Make a future reservation, maybe in September, October, for a restaurant. Purchase something online now that you might have put off for a birthday or for the holidays later on. The other thought was, please go to our virtual Chamber of Business Facebook group and share your experiences. That's pretty much a key part of what we're doing, because without that sharing opportunity, we won't know what everybody else is doing. If you have over 500 employees, although some of the Payback Benefit Act don't apply to you, you can defer your payroll taxes to the Fed. For 50% of those taxes can be deferred for 1 year, and the other 50% can be deferred for 2 years. Again, go to your Federal Reserve site and check. And again, a lot of what we're talking about today can be verified and or researched deeper if you go to our website and click under some of the links. One of the links that's been very informative to me and to folks I've been dealing with was the U.S. Chamber Town Hall link. Was held 2 days ago. And that really is an in-depth discussion and then question and answers about what we're talking about here. There also is something from the SBA called an EIDL loan, economic disaster loans. For 501c6s who are presently not covered under the Paycheck Protection Act, you can apply for a loan through one of the EIDL loans, and you get immediate advance of $10,000 that, if applied to salaries and operating costs, will be waived as a grant. As for more information is received in the next few days, we'll continue to provide companies the guidelines that they need to follow. That's sort of a wrap up of the federal level. On the state level, things are also changing. The state EDA recently passed a series of bills to protect companies from the COVID-19 virus, or the crisis it's caused. This afternoon, if you're able, Tim Sullivan, Executive Director of the EDA, will be having a webinar to discuss the intricacies about that bill. I really don't know exactly what they are. There's several parts of the bill that will apply to individuals in our region. You can go to our chamber website to get more information. But from a state and local viewpoint, there are programs in the way to provide support. And I will tell you that through all the conversations I've had, and those I've had with small businesses who may have been skeptical that these programs don't really help them, you will find that these programs really do help. And I think the important part is that this is a real attempt by a lot of people to support the small business community, support our not-for-profits, to make a statement that it really is important. All of our business organizations are working together on this. They really are. The best of my ability, I'd love to take some questions. I do have one question from Tom McManaman of Stimulus Branch Communications. And Tom mentions that he's seeing various loan packages for small businesses, which provide loan forgiveness if you hire back your employees. He hasn't seen anything open up to consultants or one-person operations. How does he, in fact, secure money? Well, as I mentioned earlier, if you are an individual operating as an independent contractor or as a separate LLC, you can apply under the Paycheck Protection Act to get funding back for your salaries and expenses. Your salaries would be your salary you pay yourself. And if you were to incur other independent contractors, that would be an opportunity. Be aware they might be applying too, so you don't want to apply together. But I believe that it looks to cover your expenses as an organization and keep you running until this crisis is over. With that, are there any other questions? Looking at my chat here. So with that, if you have any questions, please continue to go to the Chamber's website, use the links that we're bringing together, and all the organizations are sharing links. So it is not just what we get, it's what we get from the U.S. Chamber, the NJBIA, the State Chamber, the Association of Commerce of Chambers Executives. And what we're trying to do is cull through all that. So when you refer to the website, you're getting the most up-to-date information that will help you. If you have any other questions or further needs, just email alice@princetonmercer.org and we'll get back to you with those answers. Thank you all. Have a great day. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye now.